Hello and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren and today I am looking at its history. It's not usually the type of video we'd watch here on Chicago Reacts, and in fact I do have another Its History video that just went up over on Americans Learn as well, just because that's usually where they're gonna go. But hey, it's about Chicago and it was suggested to me by someone on this channel. So therefore the first video, or like I will do a video with them over here because hey, it's about Chicago. It's about Chicago's fake buildings, secret substations, and the story behind them. So I mean, I'm curious. I didn't know we had fake buildings. So I have one over on the Americans Learn channel about Wacker and Lower Wacker and Lower Wacker. And I really hate Wacker Drive, so that's why I did that one first. But it's all right. I'm going to learn about Chicago's fake buildings. So thanks for the suggestion. I really did enjoy the last Its History video that I saw, so I'm looking forward to this one as well. Loving to see learn new things about my city.
One of America's most popular cities.
Hey!
Chicago, one of America's most popular cities, as it covers 234,000 square miles.
It's a good city.
And there are hundreds of secrets and mysteries held on its premise. We've already explored the forgotten tunnels, L lines, and waterworks. But did you ever wonder what might be hiding in plain sight? Well, several buildings in Chicago's downtown area, the Loop, appear to be normal at a distance, complete with windows and doors, or even decorated in a stylish construction. However,
that's pretty typical for a Chicago building. They usually look pretty cool, I think.
After inspection, one finds that the doors do not open, and the windows are not windows at all. Instead, they are lures. This is the story of Chicago's fake buildings. I'm your host, Ryan Sokesh, and you're watching Its History.
Let's go! That was so loud.
Discuss the so-called fake buildings of Chicago, structures necessary to conceal vital power grid elements. And with all the news we hear about climate change, this is a topic bound to rise some emotions. That is why I'm proud to announce that this video is brought to you by Ren, a website that offers a simple and effective way to calculate your carbon footprint so that you can create a strategy to offset the damage.
All right, don't know how true any of this is. I know that like at least at one point, I think there was a video that I saw recently. I don't remember if it was him or not. It was an established titles sponsored video, which was a scam.
And
I don't know
what a convenient solution it is.
If this is a scam, no idea.
Questionnaire to discover your current carbon footprint, and then you can make a monthly contribution, which Ren will use to fund different projects around the world. A few of the noble projects they support include tree planting, mineral weathering, and rainforest protection, but the list goes on.
I mean, I will say all of that's cool if they do that, but also it's like an average person's carbon footprint is not what's causing damage to the environment. It's corporations across the globe, honestly, but you can turn the lights off when you exit a room and make sure you don't leave the water running and use reusable things as often as possible, but things aren't really going to get better until legislation is put in place to ensure that corporations have to do their fair share to clear up the air, basically.
Is incredibly transparent regarding their projects and will send you periodical emails with details on the projects you choose to back up. Whether it's showing you photos of trees your money helped plant or detailing accounts of the project's development, you'll know exactly where your money is going.
See, that's pretty
cool.
Use the
link in the description to sign up for Ren. The first 100 people who sign up will have 10 extra trees planted in their name. And now, back to the fake buildings of Chicago.
All right, let's go.
In short, these buildings house electrical substations built to provide power to the downtown Chicago area discreetly, a topic we've actually covered in our video about New York's secret substations. However, the history behind the Chicago buildings are far more interesting.
Fun, of course it is.
These buildings are the culmination of electrical progress in Chicago, dating back as far as the late 1870s.
Sick,
1878 saw Chicago's first demonstration of the arc light, which generated a continuous spark across 2 carbon rods, emitting light equal to approximately 2,000 candles. Arc lights easily lit the streets and other public spaces, but were unsuitable for homes and shops.
Yeah, because it's too big.
A man stepped forward with a solution. Thomas A. Edison and his incandescent light bulb finally brought domestic electrical lighting into a state of commercial practicality. Producing a flameless light in the fire-safe container provided a perfect lighting source for the electrical age. I
have a beef with Edison. I don't like him at all. Like content thief.
Light sources, along with street railways and the developing rapid transit cars or even L trains, significantly increased the city's electrical consumption. 1878 also marked the beginning of the so-called Battle of the Systems, a time of great technological and political conflict.
Tesla.
With the electrical industry suddenly revolutionizing, there was an enormous demand for energy in the area. And initially, these demands were met by one of Illinois' primary economic activities, coal mining. The 1880s saw coal production at the Central Braidwood mines at its absolute peak. However, it also saw its mining company C&W and its workers at their most dire point of conflict yet.
Not shocking.
Tensions between the miners, primarily Scottish immigrants, and the company had reached a boiling point, extreme enough to make national headlines. Ever since the creation of the mines, the miners built workers' associations, eventually climaxing in a brief miners' strike in 1868. Tensions continued, and in 1874, another uptick of conflict occurred during a nationwide economic downturn, putting a quarter of the miners out of work. At this point, C&W brought the Pinkerton National Detective Agency
not the Pinkertons. Oh man,
private security force as they hired replacement workers. The Pinkertons were notorious during the time for their highly ruthless approach to strikes and protests, often pacifying resistance with violence. The Pinkertons and Illinois troops fought against the workers as they rose up, losing in 1877, 1889, and 1894. However, by the 1900s, coal production started to drop. The most easily accessible deposits had been drained dry, and mining activity steadily declined after that. By 1892, the decline had reduced coal production to a fifth of what it was in the decade before in the Will County mines. This was highly problematic, as energy consumption only grew. In 1882, the Western Edison Light Company began operation in Chicago. It rebranded to Chicago Edison Company in 1887, and in 1892, a significant figure in public utilities took the lead of the company. As the president of Chicago Edison, Samuel Insull, once Edison's secretary, rapidly began monopolizing the city's central electrical services, consolidating the Commonwealth Electric Light and Power Company under the new corporate title of the Commonwealth Edison Company. Insull's low
so that's where ComEd comes from, I suppose.
And marketing schemes undercut his competition, allowing him to secure an exclusive franchise with Chicago, making the Commonwealth Edison Company the only company operating within the city. By securing the state commission, the Commonwealth Edison Company gained favor with the governor when Chicago's gas companies fell into hard times during...
I was like, I know there's other, because I get, Green Tree or whatever. There's some places that, try and get you to go with them. But ComEd, pretty much everyone has ComEd.
World War I, Insull applied low rates, brought technological advancements, and consolidated the city's network into one. By 1920, generators of the Commonwealth Edison Company consumed more than 2 million tons of coal every year.
Wow!
The generators at Fifth Street and West 22nd on Crawford Avenue and the Sanitary Canal generated the most energy for the company's plants. Employing 6,000 people, the company served around 500,000 people, reaching annual revenues of $400 million.
That's pretty big.
After leading efforts to connect Texas and the Midwest via a gas pipeline in the late 1920s, things would sour significantly for Insull. The stock market crashed, wiping away most of his funds, leaving him bankrupt, in fact, and so he fled the country.
Bye.
The Commonwealth Edison Company did not exactly survive the Depression. It eventually became a leader in nuclear power. As the city's power
so it's not the same ComEd then.
Its physical structure also fully came into form. It starts with the power plant, which generates the power that runs the grid. The energy runs into power lines, taking it wherever it needs to go. But before it gets there, it visits a substation, transforming the energy into
Okay.
quantities that local power outlets can use. Substations
Okay.
in suburban environments today are pretty small,
Yeah.
basically being a telephone pole suspended cylinder called a transformer. Since the
I've seen one of them explode. That I didn't realize. Okay. Okay. That's really cool. I didn't know that that's what that did specifically. I just know that like one time my friend and I were driving home. It was a big old thunderstorm. And we'd been in the woods because we'd been biking, and then like it was like thunderstorm. Driving home from the trail, and we were it was kind of terrifying because we were really really close to when this just lightning hit the transformer and it fully exploded, and luckily we ended up being right next to a turnoff, like a back roads turnoff, to be able to get back to my house. And it was like if we had been even one car length ahead of where we were, we would have been real like really screwed. We would have been trapped there for a while, but we were right next to this turnoff. We're like, okay, but also like seeing the transformer absolutely explode like that was terrifying.
Transformers are generally stepping the energy down into similar levels, it can get away with being small. However, a simple transformer is insufficient with something like the Chicago downtown area,
Makes
which
sense.
powers the 8L train lines, and hence an entire substation is needed. A complete substation is not exactly an eye-pleasing sight. At best, it's an ominous-looking box with many mechanical protrusions. At worst, it's a complex of towers that look as deadly as they are.
Okay.
Neither option is very scenic.
And we
in a
like our
location
scenic
as
stuff.
dense as the Chicago Loop, there aren't exactly places for them. Yet,
We like things to look nice.
with the energy demands, they are completely non negotiable. So the city needed another answer. And the previously mentioned Sam Insull had a solution all the way back in 1899. The Commonwealth Edison substation on the near north side was the first substation constructed in Chicago, and it blended right in with the city. This substation
Okay.
worked wonderfully, disguising the gritty machines of electrical equipment behind a a facade of a typical building. Insull bought out more buildings to convert them into substations
Okay.
as the power grid expanded. By 1901, construction began on
I'm
new
gonna have to look
buildings
out
with
for
the
that.
sole purpose of housing substations. These fake buildings had doors that did not open and windows covered in shutters. However, the buildings were otherwise works of art, built in Art Deco, classical revival style, and one in the River North area was constructed similarly to a Georgian mansion. The 1910s saw many of the most
I'm not
beautiful of
surprised
these
we're so
substations
extra.
come about. Various architects lent their designs to these projects, including Halliburton Rutan, and Coolidge. One especially notable architect was Herman Van Holst, who owned Van Holst and Fife. His firm, an independent practice, designed most of the substations built from the 1910s to the 1930s.
I don't like that one as much as I liked the brick ones. The brick one was really pretty. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for some of these. That's really because I'm just gonna have to. That's really fun.
They constructed most of their buildings in a unique take on the Perez school of style, unseen anywhere else in the city. But despite the artistry, the buildings were primarily made out of durable materials to house the heavy electric
Makes sense.
equipment that made up the substations. Regardless of the location or purpose of the substation, whether they were serving a neighborhood, a streetcar system, or an L train line, they had both flair and functionality. Some of the antiquated sites were refurbished or repurposed for modern use, but construction did continue, some as recent as the 1990s.
Okay.
And surprisingly, their artistry has not decreased.
Good for us.
Anything. The focus on the aesthetic has seemed to increase.
And honestly, like I said, that makes perfect sense for a city like Chicago. Like, I mean, yeah, like something like this, it's just pretty to look at. And if you're at in a lot of suburban, or not suburban, but if you're in a lot of like outer neighborhoods. If you're north, if you're west, like it doesn't really matter. If you're out of the downtown area specifically, like you can look around at 9 different houses on the same street and like they're all really they're cool looking and none of them look like they were designed by the same person, which is just fun. It's like Chicago's got such a fun, eclectic aesthetic. I don't know. I love looking at the buildings here. Like I like when it's not -4 degrees out. Well, today it's like 1 degree, but like when it's not freezing or well below, I will go on like long walks through various neighborhoods just to like take in the architecture because it's so cool.
That's not to suggest that the older ones don't hold up. It's just surprising when you consider how degenerate most modern architecture can be when compared to the times of the old. So now that we have our history lesson settled,
We like to hold up
let's
that
have a
aesthetic,
look
though.
at what's left of Chicago's fake buildings.
Okay, let's
First
go.
up
Let's
is
see.
6155 South Prairie Avenue. Construction on the Washington Park substation began in
Okay.
1928 and ended in
Ooh.
1939. Well, it
Like I said, I'm glad he's telling me where like some of them are still existing because I want to go and visit 1 or 2 of them.
currently sits empty and abandoned. Its electrical equipment remains. Compared to most of
That's
the
so
other
cool.
substations, it is a massive building since it
Do some
served
urban
a large
exploring,
neighborhood
maybe?
with smaller substations to which it distributed energy. Its ornaments resemble electrical equipment with light bulbs carved into its limestone facade. It currently faces demolition by
No!
neglect. But there is a small glimmer of hope.
When was that?
as Preservation movements wish to refurbish it. Next up
When was
is
that?
the Commonwealth Edison
This video, when did this video come out? I need to know. This video came out 3 years ago. Oh no, some of these might not be there anymore. Oh man.
substation at 119 North Dearborn Street. This one, designed by Halliburton
It's
Root
closer.
in an Art Deco style and constructed in 1931, is defined by its enormous black doorway topped with a carving of a man
That's
bearing
sick.
lightning bolts, hinting at its purpose. The limestone building is small compared to its neighboring steel, glass, and
Yeah, that's
concrete
wild. That looks so strange. I love the city.
structures, but it once fit in seamlessly with those around it at the time of its construction.
I've
Another
like walked
substation-
past that. I must have walked past that building a million times or like hundreds of times at the very least. Like, and I just didn't notice it. But again, usually if I'm downtown, I'm not doing the like, unless I'm on an architecture tour, I'm not like looking at the architecture because you have to pay attention when you're downtown, but still.
With a great deal of history is the Well Street Terminal Substation. Located at 321 South Franklin Street, the building opened alongside the 5th Avenue Terminal, which opened on October the 3rd, 1904. It was less of an art piece underneath the tracks than the station itself, as not to draw attention away from the building it existed to serve. But much
Okay.
like the station, it had Gerber architectural flourishes. While the terminal no longer exists today, the substation remains, serving the loophole
right.
long after its parent building's demolition in August of 1964.
Wow.
The AT&T Equipment Building at 10 South Canal Street is another building designed by Halliburton Root. Unlike the others we have spoken of previously, this building opened in 1970 and is 23 stories tall. The doors at the bottom are functional and the top 7 floors contain actual windows, though the other 18
Okay.
floors contain the electrical equipment and as a result
Dang.
are windowless. In place of windows,
All right.
grooved concrete
Oh, okay. I'm trying to like, because again, some of these buildings I've definitely actually have seen, and it just didn't like. I feel like I thought there was a different kind of window or something. I don't know, like a screen over top of it.
pallets fill the windowsills. To some degree, this building may be a product of the nuclear fears of the 1960s. The building
Oh.
obviously wouldn't survive a direct blast, but its walls would protect the equipment and people from a nearby detonation.
Cool.
The telephone services it provides would be invaluable in the event of a war. So
Okay, good to
structural
know.
integrity was paramount at the time of its creation. Allegedly, the building also hides an oil tank with a 1 million gallon capacity. turbine generators, and a water well,
Cool.
allowing it to operate for over 2 weeks without any outside contact.
Good
But
to
again,
know. So now if there's a war, I know where I gotta head. But that also means I have to head downtown for if there's a war. Zombie apocalypse. Don't want to be downtown for a zombie apocalypse.
Let me emphasize, this is just speculation. Lastly, one of the most recent buildings is the N-Wave chiller plant at 137 South State Street. Constructed
Oh,
in
cool.
1995 using designs of Eckenhoff Saunders architects. One of its primary purposes is to inspire curiosity about its interior. The building has
Okay.
a CVS pharmacy at the bottom, but it's topped with 4 near windowless floors.
I don't remember this building.
Contains ice and water tanks in nearly all of its hidden areas for various purposes.
Okay.
Massive fans and cooling towers lay at its top, designed to preserve the cold that makes the water more efficient.
I mean, if it was designed to imbue curiosity, it didn't work on me because I'm looking at 137 State Street. I'm like, I've been next to this building for sure and just didn't notice it.
You see, the water that this building contains supplies the entirety of the loop with coolant, condenser water, chilled water, so on and so forth.
Dang,
These
okay.
strange buildings dot Chicago's downtown area, fitting in perfectly with neighboring structures. And only with a curious eye will you ever notice just how out of place they really are. Which begs the question,
I don't have one of those.
what other mysteries does the Windy City contain?
So many,
Chicagoans,
probably.
let me know in the comments section below, and perhaps I will make a video on your topic. Otherwise, support the channel by subscribing, share our Chicago history playlist, and check out our video about New York's fake buildings. This is Ryan Socash.
Thanks,
signing
Ryan
off.
Socash. That was cool. Like I said, I do love learning about this city. I've only been here I've been here since 2016, so I've been here for about 8 years, which is a long time. It's a long time that I've been living here. I love living here, and it's just always cool to like learn more about the city that I've decided to call home. So I really, really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you again for suggesting this channel. I'm looking forward to like going through this playlist. Like I said, I'll probably do some. We'll see. We'll see which channel it does better on, I guess. But also I might change up like where I watch stuff. So maybe I'll watch Chicago stuff here and Chicago Reacts because I'm learning about Chicago and like other cities and other things on the Americans Learns channel. Maybe I'll leave it up to y'all to tell me in the comments below what I should do. So thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you all in the next one.